All right, lot to update everybody on. Of course, many of us were at the Cepeda Success Express University back in Charlotte. Seems like a month ago, but it's only about, 8 days ago. But put a lot of miles on since then. But that was an incredible event, the best event of its type I've been to in my 20-plus year career in this industry. And just was really able to identify that everything is in place. The company's the right company, the product's the right product, we got the right team, we got the right system, and the culture is beyond compare. So we're definitely in the right place. It's an awesome feeling to just feel at home from the very beginning. As many of you know, Tuesday night I left for the UK. Had a little blessing in that while I was speaking at the event in Charlotte, Brian Wright's wife nudged him in the chest and said, "You need to go with that guy to the UK." And he thought she was kidding, but she wasn't. And so they slept on it Sunday night, and Monday morning he bought a ticket and he came with me. And it was a godsend for me because he's had 3 years in the business. He really knows what he's doing. And I was able to show him some things I've learned over 20 years of networking. I'm not afraid to talk to anybody. So he learned how to talk to people a little differently than he's used to. He's more of a social media guy. I'm more of a belly-to-belly, face-to-face guy. So we had a great time. I won't go through all the details, but just tell you a couple interesting stories. Our first day there, Tuesday, well, it ended up being Wednesday morning by the time we both flew in. We went to a town in near Manchester. I don't even remember the name of it, but that's where we went. That's where they told us we could find young people. We were looking for the 18 to 35-year-old group. The taxi cab driver on the way over there, if you read my Facebook post, I apologize, I did post this, but he was the most negative taxi driver I've ever had in my career. And he started out when we asked him how he was doing. He said, terrible. We asked why. He said, I got more bills than I got money. And Brian and I both looked at each other like, oh, we got a prospect. And man, was he negative. So he was bragging about how he basically stole people's dreams, and people that pursued this type of business, he actually talked them out of it. And he was bragging about that. So when we got time to leave, Brian paid him for the fare. And then Brian gave him my business card because he didn't want him to have his business card. That's how negative the guy was. But then that night he watched the video. Roddy filled out the little form, so I knew it was a guy named Mohammed. I wasn't sure it was that taxi cab driver, but the next day we went back to the same city to follow up on some things we got going. And when we were ready to come home, we called, got a taxi. It ended up being the same guy. So I'm thinking it's a small taxi cab company, no coincidence there, maybe 2 or 3 drivers. He couldn't believe it. He said, we got 400 drivers. The chance of me picking up the same people are almost nil. And this time he was a little more positive. By the time we got out of that taxi cab, he had signed a pre-enrollment form and was joining our business as our newest affiliate. I asked him what he hoped to accomplish, and he said, well, if this is as good as you two say it is, I want to make a lot of money with you guys. So it's just amazing. Don't prejudge people. He was just obviously having a very bad day, and he didn't know what he didn't know. When he saw 2 guys that had a higher belief level than his skepticism, it turned him around. I don't know where all you all are in your faith walk, but on Thursday morning, my favorite part of the whole weekend was Brian and I went on a prayer walk. And we specifically went out with no intention of prospecting, just meeting people and praying for them if they would let us. The third person we talked to was a lady that we had met the day before, who is, by the way, a very good prospect for Brian's business. We walked into the place of business. We followed up from our meeting the day before, tried to get her to pre-enroll. She wasn't quite ready. And then Brian said, well, the real purpose we're out today is we're doing a prayer walk. Would you mind if we prayed for you? She says, I've never been prayed for before. And I thought that was pretty interesting. So we asked if she would give us permission. She said yes. And so we prayed for her. When I was done praying for her, I drew out the 3 circles of evangelism to show her the gospel message. And right there, she prayed to receive Jesus. So it didn't matter what happened to us today. Brian and I were floating around on cloud 9. We went out, made some more contacts, had a great day. Then that night, Thursday night, we went to the Manchester event. And let me see if I can do this. If you're on my Facebook, you probably have already seen some of these pictures I put out today. I spent a lot of time getting these pictures out there for you. Let me share my screen here. All right, let's see. Share screen. Put this one here. Start share. Can you guys see my screen? All right, hopefully you can see it.
Yes, we can, Chuck.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yep.
So this is some pictures from the first event in Manchester. Top right is Peter Krogh. That's spelled K-R-O-P-P, so it's crop, K-R-O-P-P. He is the general manager, not just of England, but of all of Europe. And he has done a phenomenal job of preparing Europe for the Isagenix launch. Some of you that have been involved in Isagenix know the guy underneath that picture. That is Travis Garcia. Garza, thank you. You're right, Garza. And he was phenomenal in every way, shape, and form. All these guys were. I was just, again, thoroughly impressed. The bottom right screen is Kevin. He's the general manager of actually England. And then Peter's his boss over all of Europe. And I've got 9 more pictures there. But that event was the best event of its type I've ever been to, again, in my 20-plus year career in this industry. Everything from the way the event planner planned it out, the reception room before, the environment, the atmosphere in the room, the speakers, Dr. Paul Bynadich or something like that. He's a chiropractor. He trains some of the top athletes in the world. He did the product demonstration and talked about the product. If you walked out of there and not joining the business, you were just absolutely didn't have a pulse. It was a 3-hour meeting, and literally you didn't see people get up and go to the restroom. You didn't see people squirming in their seats. People did not want to leave. When it was over, people just hung around. The millionaire speakers were phenomenal. David and Irene Miller from Australia. They were the first millionaires, the first international millionaires at Isagenix. They were phenomenal. Their story was just, they really related to all of us in the room, but especially me. They were the exact same age when they started Isagenix that I am now. And they just talked about how they had their back to the wall, how they went to work, and how it has created a lifestyle second to none for them and their family and a legacy. There was a Heather that spoke, an athletic woman, single mom. Her story was just heart-wrenching. She talked about the first meeting she went to in Australia and how small it was compared to the ones in London, and how when they talked about someday somebody in that room might be a Isagenix millionaire, she was looking all around the room to think of who it might be because she had no inclination it could possibly be her. But she's been very, very successful. She had a great story. Travis Garza did the compensation plan. He also talked about the history of the company. They had a lady who talked about the marketing. She was actually the VP of marketing. She was phenomenal. Just like I said, it was the best meeting of its kind I've ever been to. There was over 200 people in that room. It was packed out, but it was very, very comfortable. And it was just an electric atmosphere. The next day was in Birmingham, and on our train ride coming from Manchester to Birmingham, I met a guy at the train station, and I wasn't playing dumb. I was ignorant as far as how to get around on trains. So I was asking people for help, and then every time I asked somebody for help, it turned into a contact. This gentleman is a young university student. His name is Joshua. I handed him my card, basically told him to, check out the video on the card, and if he was interested, to fill out the form to where I could get back to him. About 2 or 3 minutes later, here he is standing next to me on the platform, making conversation. Within 5 minutes, he was filling out a pre-enrollment form, and then we had an hour and a half on the train together, riding from Manchester to Birmingham, and I spent that hour training him. And fortunately, I had Brian Wright with me. Brian Wright reviewed the compensation plan, so I got to watch how he showed the compensation plan, and that was great training for me. All I'd really seen up to that point has been, like YouTube videos and stuff, so it's great to see a live one-on-one. Brian did a great job. Actually, as we were training Joshua, people all around us were interested, so we're handing out cards to them. But Joshua is now in our business, so the taxi cab driver signed up. Joshua signed up, and Joshua is the perfect millennial. Looking forward to work with him and really getting him up to speed over the next couple weeks, as Eric Coover will be in England in a couple weeks, culminating with a big event in London on April 22nd, which we'll be building towards. That was a phenomenal event. We then went to the meeting that night in Birmingham. 3 of the people on our team were there. Joe Sharman she's not really from Coventry, but she's somewhere around there. And then Neil and Lily, thank you, Michael, were there. And all 3 of them were absolutely stoked with the meeting in Birmingham. I don't know if jet lag and lack of sleep were starting to catch up with me, but this meeting did not have near the electricity of the first meeting in Manchester. It was still excellent, but nowhere near the excitement level or energy that I felt the first night. Then we spent the night, a short night, in Birmingham, got up and went to the train station at like 6 a.m., got to the meeting in London, started at 10 a.m., and the Manchester held the record for the best meeting of my career for a long day and a half, because the meeting in London was the best meeting I've ever been to ever. I mean, it was amazing. There was over 700 people in the room, and the atmosphere was absolutely 100% electric. They drew over 2,000 people to the tour. There was 6 cities. Brian and I went to the last 3. We went to Manchester, Birmingham, and London. There was 3 cities before that. There was over 2,000 people that attended all 6 cities. And London was the climax. It was beyond description. In fact, I could tell when Travis Garza was talking, it blew his expectations out of the water, what was going on. Here are people that have not even experienced the product, and they're building teams of just incredible size. And as we expected, the opportunity is just amazing. They have projected to have about 3,000 to 4,000 people pre-enrolled for the launch in the UK. And as of the first night we were there, Thursday night, they'd already had 11,100, and they were adding hundreds a day. So they've redone their forecast to about 14,000. And I've got news for them. After that tour and the excitement they generated, it'll be at least 20,000. I think quite a bit more than that. That event was highlighted by several great talks. Again, David and Irene Miller stole the show. They were phenomenal. Heather was phenomenal. All the speakers of the 3 nights, every one of them, this was their best performance. This Dr. Paul, he did a product demonstration that I actually videotaped the middle one, the one in Birmingham. I got it on YouTube, and I put it on my Team of Hope site. That product demonstration he did really defined for everybody in the audience why Isagenix has no competition, why there is no objection to price. Nobody has what we have. And he made it so clear. He trained some of the top athletes in the world. In fact, he has trained the #1. I forget what he called it. It's on the video. You can listen to it. But what they call the guys, world fighters or ultimate fighters. He's got the #1 ranked guy in the world as one of his clients. And he's always had effective products that he recommended to his clients. But he used to have to take products from like 3 or 4 different countries and companies. And it was just a super big hassle for his clients to follow his regimen. And now he says with the Isagenix products, he has that right there at his disposal. So again, that meeting was 700 people. Having been in the 3rd city of the tour, Peter and Travis and Kevin and the marketing, I think her name is Meg, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not 100% sure. They all kind of knew us by now. At that meeting, we had about 12 people from our team. And so I was able to take them up and introduce them to all these people, so they really got plugged into the system. Very, very exciting. They explained to us how the 200-pound rule is going to take place. For those of you in the United States and other places, it really doesn't matter to you, but there's a law in the UK that an affiliate in a network marketing company cannot spend more than 200 pounds in their first 7 days. And Isagenix has come up with a brilliant way to work within that and meet that requirement. I'm telling you, my biggest takeaway from the 3 events, and for those of you that have been in Isagenix for a while, you're going to be like, duh. But for us that are new, it's like how absolutely first class this company is. I mean, every single thing was just absolutely 100% first class. You just walked out of there just knowing you're with a billion-dollar company that's going to become a multi-billion-dollar company, and we have got to have the competition shaking in their boots. They are projecting, based on past rollouts and different things of that nature, and just the size of the pre-enrollment. They are projecting, and I think Kevin was the one who told me this, that in the first month, the first full month of business, they are projecting to become the #1 network marketing company in the UK. Now, I know that sounds crazy, so check your facts on that, but Brian and I are both sure that's what he told us. And with the excitement we saw, we could believe it happening. So, Michael, if you want to say anything, that's kind of a quick recap of the 3 cities and the excitement. We did sign up. I personally signed up one more person. That was on a train ride early Saturday morning from Birmingham to London. I sat by a lady named Veronica, and we had a very long conversation, about an hour long. We talked about our faith. We talked about business, talked about her goals, and a great fit. Got her plugged in. And so 3 personals and probably about 25 total people pre-enrolled through some of the team. And the groundwork's been laid for really hundreds and hundreds and hundreds more to get pre-enrolled before the pre-launch. So, Michael, anything you want to ask or share before we move on?
You know, Chuck, that's tough to follow, basically. That report is tough to follow. I'm going to have to fact check about the #1 network marketing company.
I would expect you to, sir.
In their first month, that would be a phenomenal accomplishment. But I will tell you, but you know, before I get into that and the business basically of Isagenix, I want to talk a little bit about, and I'm sure that you guys can relate to this too. And I think I saw Carol on too. Is Carol Tonkin there?
Yes, she is.
Okay, because one of the things I wanted to mention was about the events and so forth. The reality is, Chuck, is that I know and I really respect the fact that you've been in this business for 20 plus years, and these were the best events that you've seen. But I also want to just give kudos to Carol and her group and what they did over in North Carolina for that weekend. It was just a phenomenal weekend. And the opportunity to be able to have those of us that attended go there and really get immersed and fully appreciate the culture that Carol and that team and that group has created was just it was just a true blessing, and it just reinforced the decision that we made to get involved with the Cepedas and that whole group. We made the best possible decision. The other thing that I wanted to mention was, it's interesting to me as I've been continuing to come to use the product and become a product of the product. And you can see here I'm drinking my shake tonight. It's funny because, you know, I haven't felt any kind of hunger. I actually look forward to, you know, this is my dinner. And it's just weird that I look forward to my shake for dinner. I was never that guy before. But just the nutrition and the way that my body has been able to take in the nutrition of the products from Isagenix and the way that it's reacted to that nutrition. It was just reinforced by all the product stories that we heard over at the event that we went to in North Carolina with people that have been on this product for 9 to 10 years. And actually, and I even mentioned it, I was talking to some ladies basically that they'll go on a cruise, which is generally an eating extravaganza, and they'll bring their blenders so they can do their Isagenix shakes. And so, you know, part of what you look for in a network marketing company is, you know, not only the fact that people get great results on the product, but then if in fact they're not involved in the opportunity, do they still buy the products? And this company has developed some raving fans for their product line. And that's one of the things that I'm so excited about. And this has really been incorporated. It hasn't been hard to do, to be able to incorporate their product line and I don't feel like I'm going without anything, actually. In fact, my body's responding the other way because of the nutrition that I'm getting. So I'm incredibly pleased so far with the products and those experiences. On the business side, I will tell you guys this, because this is something that's going to start to happen because, you know, you look at it and you look at, okay, here's a 15-year-old company that's doing $924 million last year. We'll probably do $1 billion this year. And you know, some people might say, hey, what's the opportunity might have passed you by, but the reality is this, and what I looked at and what I saw was that this is going to become a multi-billion-dollar company. So rather than be involved in basically getting involved in the startup where 98% of the businesses basically go out of business in the first 5 years, I know this company is going to be around for the rest of our lives, and I know this is going to be a multi-billion-dollar company. So the opportunity for me is even greater than getting involved in a startup where you've still got questions about, okay, maybe you're involved in a startup that's going to scale and you're there at the beginning. But the reality is if you're with a company that goes from $1 billion to $3 billion a year, and you know that company's going to be around for the rest of your life, to me, that's a better scenario. The other thing that I wanted to mention was, here's what you're going to see, guys. So even if, in fact, they're in a situation where you see the UK become maybe not even the #1 company in all of the UK isogenics, but what you're going to see is you're going to see some incredible product stories, and you're going to see some incredible income stories that are going to be generated because of this pre-launch. And that's going to generate all kinds of excitement. And what that's going to do is it's going to springboard this company into Germany and into Netherlands and into other parts of Europe. So what you're going to see, the excitement that's generated in the UK and the stories that come out of the UK is basically going to springboard the rest of Europe. And that's something that's truly exciting. And then when you look at, what their other expansion plans are, again, it just reinforces the decision that we made in forming the alliance with Isagenix. Looking forward to the journey. I'm going to be, just to let you guys know, I'm going to be at corporate next week. So if there's anything that you want me to address at corporate, I will be there next Thursday. I've got all-day meetings with them. And I'm looking forward to basically sharing some of the feedback of our first couple months basically in the business and giving them some additional ideas as well. So if there's anything that any ideas that you have or things that you want me to bring up to them, I'm more than happy to be able to do it. Just drop me an email and let me know, and I'm going to do that during the meetings. And so excited for what's happened over in the UK, excited for our team in the UK that's now got the vision as well, and what's going to be happening there over the next 40 days. So back to you, Chuck.
Thank you, Michael. And I hope you guys enjoyed those pictures as he was showing that. What I really want to talk about now, it's great that we had a great trip and had a lot of fun, but I want to talk about the opportunity for you because the notification Michael got today and he forwarded to me is the pre-launch in the UK is going to end April 30th, the end of this month. And so what I would recommend you do is contact everybody on your team, everybody you know, and ask them who they know in the UK and get them pre-enrolled. It's a free pre-enrollment. So you want to get as many people pre-enrolled as you can. There's going to be another tour in just a couple, 3 weeks, culminating on April 22nd in London. Eric Coover is going to be the main guy on the tour. And so what I'm going to do is get all the people my age, getting their kids and their nephews and their nieces at those meetings, because what we thought was exciting this past week, I personally believe is going to be at least double that this next time. The crowds are amazing. Every venue is sold out. This time what we were told by the leadership there is they're not going to let them sell out. They're going to get bigger venues, and they're going to allow people to come the day of the event. It's going to be an amazing event. So I would just encourage you not to sit back and watch this happen, but be a part of it. Start asking everybody you know, everybody you've talked to over the last 2 years in your life, who do you know in the UK? Well, why do you ask? My company is doing a major launch in the UK, and we're just looking for boots on the ground, people that want to potentially use our product and or rep our product, and just get as many people exposed to this as you can. You might have seen the one pictures I was scrolling through of the bowling alley. One of the ladies that was at the meeting on Saturday told me that she's a champion bowler, and so her and a bunch of her friends bowl every Sunday morning. So I went to church Sunday evening. I went to bowling with her, and I think we enrolled 6 or 8 people right there in the bowling alley, pre-enrolled 6 or 8 people. And every one of them now is out there knowing how to pre-enroll others. And so what I taught every person that we talked to over there is just get out a napkin and figure out what would happen if you enrolled 10 people in the next week. pre-enroll 10 free people in the next week. First of all, do you think you could do that? And every one of them said, yes, I know I can do that. I said, all right, let's assume you do then, because there's a big difference between intentions and actually action. Intentions minus action equals squat. But let's just say you do. And then let's say you take the time to teach those 10 to get 10 in their first week. How many do you have on your team? And they did the math real quick, and they said 100. I said, no, 110, but that's all right. And then I said, okay, let's say the 100. Let's make the math easy. Let's say we teach the 100 to get 10 in week 3. How many do you have in the next week? And they said 1,000. I said 1,110, but let's round down. 1,000 it is. Let's say we teach that 1,000 each get just 10 the next week, the 4th week. How many do you have? And it kind of blew their mind, that compounding effect that can take place. So that's what I'm spending my time now, is building my team here in the U.S., not forgetting about that in other countries, but focusing on teaching the team in the U.K. about this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that they have. This month of April is the pre-launch in the UK, where we can sign up. We can pre-enroll people for free. They get a position. They activate that position. And then they've got, I don't remember, 7 or 15 days. Michael, you might know the exact number of days to place their initial order to lock in their position. We'll be educating them throughout the process, and so will Isagenix Corporate. So the purpose of this call is not just to educate you on what happened, but what is happening, so you can plug in and take advantage of it. I'm going back to the UK. I don't know exactly when yet. We're kind of we put a challenge out to our team in the UK. If they can do certain things, I'll come back sooner than later. But I know Michael Wiedder is coming back, and so you'll have people you know there. We can help you, but only you can contact people. I do want to put a shout out. Pam Benjamin's on the phone. Pam reached out to a top business leader in London while I was over there. He happened to be out of the country on business, but through our conversations, he joined the team, and he is one of the top business people Pam and I know in all of London. He's amazing. Pam, what's the name of his business that he's the CEO of? It's Mindset something?
MindFit.
MindFit, and he has relationships with all the universities, the Chamber of Commerce's, the PGA. This is an incredible business person. Pam enrolled him while I was over in the UK. So it works. You can get out there and talk about him. Pam, that reminds me, we need to get with him and get him trained to where he has half the room is his people at this next event. All right. Now, I'm going to be doing a call specifically for our team in the UK every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. It'll be 9:30 p.m. over in the UK, which will be 4:30 p.m. Eastern time here in the United States. So if that works for you or your prospects in the UK, get them on those Zoom meetings. That information will be available on teamofhope.com in the April blog archive. I'm also going to be doing multiple calls throughout the week for our US team. But the most important thing is, you already know, is plug into the system that's already built. Plug into the morning calls that the Cepedas do. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. You should have that information. If you don't, give it the person who invited you on the call. Make sure you and your team are plugged in to those calls, because that is the foundation of everything we do. All right, I'm going to stop the recording and just open up for any questions you might have.
Hey, Chuck, I wanted to bring up one other point as well.
Go ahead. We're still recording.
And that is, with Eric being there, I can tell you I was fortunate to meet Eric the last time that I was at corporate, probably one of the most, and I think he's 29, might be 30, one of the most accomplished 29-year-olds, and impressive 29-year-olds that I've ever met. And one of the things that was interesting to me and kind of reinforced also at the event in Charlotte was the breadth of people that Isagenix basically is attractive to. We had a ton of millennials that were also there. They actually did the panel and everything else. We had a kind of a millennial panel, a young person's panel, and I'm really, when you look at the ability of what Isagenix has done, and I know Eric has been a big part of what he's done too, with the social media and so forth, and being able to make this company more attractive to the millennials. But I was just really impressed by just the breadth of the people that are attracted to this opportunity. Everything from 20-something, basically, all the way up to the boomers. and it was a pretty, when you looked at the mix, I mean, it was pretty well mixed. And so that's something that's also very exciting about this, is that they've been able to put together a company, a product line that basically is attractive to that broad breadth of people.
Well, it's sitting next to me. It's just standing next to me.
All right, somebody's not on mute, but let's go ahead and stop the recording here.